recording this.
Yeah,
this should pick up everything. We've been pretty good about it so far. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's just funny to see, like, you could just be like randomly like just meeting someone and they find out like you rode BMX and they did. It's like the connection fully changes. Like,
yeah, totally. I know there's not too much crossover, I guess, in what I'm doing now with the DJing, but like when I do meet people, they're always like super stoked. Like a lot of time they have to ask me. They're like, "You're not like the Lee Reynolds that used to ride BMX." Are you? I'm like, yeah. I actually still do sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about it. It's like you can go DJ and then you're like, oh, some friends are in town. I'm gonna go take some runs and
I know. I wish it was like more convenient here. Someone did just mention that there's like a half pipe up in North County at someone's house.
Well, Xavier has
his, but that's kind of a hike.
Yeah,
and it's like
that ramp looks so fun.
If I could just go, if there were a skate park somewhere around here and I could just go for an hour and ride, that would be like way more conducive.
That's kind of like like how Portland is.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I need.
In downtown Portland, you can hit about 20 skate parks within like downtown Portland.
That's crazy.
And like every type, big transition, street plaza. Yeah. Which is nice. I mean, I'm not by any means old, but I'm 39, so it's like I have my favorites, and I'm like, oh cool, I'll just go down here, take some runs. Where you're like, okay, did some 6-foot airs, that felt great, I'll get I'm gonna go on and go to the grocery store now, and but it's just, I mean, it's very convenient.
There aren't any skate parks in San Diego that I could honestly say I love. The YMCA, they have the half pipe, but it's huge.
Those 13, what is that, 13 and a half or something?
Maybe 14, so like whatever
it is. The pump on those, like
especially that one, because it's kind of weathered too, so it's like, it's super solid. But when I rode it, at least. I mean, the biggest I've ever felt comfortable on is like 11 and a half, but you give me like a 9 to 10, that pump is so, you don't have to ride for a while and you're like, there's that scoop, and you'll be like, oh, I got it. There we go. I was loving Xavier's ramp, except the time we were there, the sun was like right in your eyes on one side. The whole time I was there, so I couldn't really like. Yeah. It was bright too. It was like.
His ramp looks so fun.
And then we were on our way. We went to Fontana because I was actually contemplating riding in the. They had like some kind of old school thing there a few years ago.
Yeah. And I think
it ended a while ago. It must have been like 4 or 5
years. It was 4 years ago. I think it came down to like Blyther and Wilkerson like battling now. Yeah.
So I was like contemplating entering that, so they took me there to like ride that bowl a little bit. It was fun.
Yeah.
I was actually riding it back and forth like a half pipe, which is like
that's the kind of cool thing about bowls, and especially like you'll see people how they ride them nowadays, but sometimes when you bring in somebody that's like not used to riding that, you can put your own little twist on it. And you'll be like, oh shit, you just opened up like 3 lines I haven't seen.
At the have you been to the YMCA in San Diego?
No, but I know what it looks like.
If you rent it out. Like normally no bikes in the pool, but if you rent out the whole park, you can.
Didn't they do that for? Was it your birthday?
They did it for Andy Shahar's birthday a couple of times. Yep. We actually did it probably like half a dozen times. Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
It's my friend Shad.
Hey guys.
Julie.
I'm Shad.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, Lonnie.
Lee, nice to meet you.
Lonnie.
Hey,
hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Ashley, nice
to
meet you. Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, it's but you'd have to rent it before the park open to the public, so you have to get up at like 7 a.m. Type deal.
Yeah.
So it was kind of rough sometimes. It might like I DJ for a living now, so it's like I'm totally off schedule.
Yeah.
Shit.
Here, I'm gonna pause it just for a sec. Yeah. It's so weird, like when you think about that time when you guys were on Haro and stuff, and like sometimes you think back, it just seems like such a big time span, and then you're like, oh, like, 88 to 92. You're like 4 years, then you think about what the last 4 years you've been doing.
I know.
And you're like, that's no time, but it's weird how even like if you looked at 87 to like 92, that mark that it left on BMX, like everything was so progressive, everything was changing so fast.
So much potential. But at the same time, the bottom was like totally falling out of the industry for whatever reason.
So you came over to the States right before the bottom fell out, pretty much, didn't you?
Kind of caught the tail. I never made any money riding my bike worth talking about. But it was. I met Ron and those guys when they came over for Whole Shot, which was like our big contest that we had. And Wendy came over. I met her, and then I decided fuck, I got to go check out San Diego. I met a few people. I was riding for Hutch, and you know, me and my friend decided just to come out for a month on vacation. And I literally called like Ron Stabane, like on the way out, and I'm like, if you can, you know, we're gonna stay in a hotel unless you know like anyone that, like, you know, if you have any no, actually we just said, can you recommend a hotel for us to stay in?
Yeah.
Like, basically. And then we got to the airport, and Ron was there at the airport with Kevin Martin.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, this is Kevin. Ron just moved out of the ramp house, and these guys moved in, and they'd be willing to, you know, let you crash on the floor over there for, I think they probably charged us whatever their month's rent was. So like we paid their month's rent for them.
And they were just like, yeah.
They were stoked. We were stoked because it was like way cheaper than staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
And I got to fucking stay at the ramp house.
And that you had the ramp in the backyard?
The ramp there. So I just like,
and
like the next morning, the morning after we arrived, you know, arrived at nighttime. As soon as the sun came up, I was riding that ramp.
And in my opinion, one of my favorite BMX ads were shot on that airwalk ad of you.
Yeah.
Just doing that can like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was rad. That was Dan Stewart, who's like a legendary. Like,
so skate photographer.
Yeah, skate and surf photographer. Skate mostly, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't follow skateboarding, but I know he shot a lot of like Jeff Rowley and dudes like that. So
really like renowned. And somehow Airwalk talked him into shooting it, and he was on his way to Mexico to go surf. And he came by, and I remember it was like the smallest roll of film you could get. I think it was like a 12 exposures. Or something like that. Maybe 24 at the most.
Yeah.
And he was there. He was at the house for like half an hour maybe, and then he was out of there. And then I went by, and he got like he was just like getting under the ramp, like underneath me on the ramp when he was shooting. And then I went by Airwalk to like see the photos, and they were like, I only saw him one time, like through the loop.
Yeah.
And I was just like, everyone, you could have picked any one of them, and I've never seen him again. I've always like wanted to get my hands on him to this
that'd be
day.
such
because they're all as good as that one, and that was
and just imagine being able to get like a high res scan of that to where it's such I just remember seeing that ad when I was little, and I was like, holy shit! Like,
I did get lucky though, actually, because Trainer was. I don't know, was he working at Freestyling or he's hooked in with those guys? But when Freestyling closed down, they gave him like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but we were talking about that.
He ended up giving me like the one that I think Windy shot it actually from Flint, Michigan.
The Flint contest,
so I actually have the original.
The one where your foot is just
like hanging on my barely.
You're like rolling it over. Yeah, we were talking.
And then I have the other one, which is like a no-hander from the Schenectady, New York contest.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm stoked. At least I have those two.
And and they're shot by Windy, so it's like
I think the no-hander might be Spike, but I'm not sure which is.
But they're both so iconic, you know.
Totally.
We were talking about that earlier, like with BMX Plus going under.
Yeah.
Like it's so scary thinking about what happened with Wizards photos. So many of them got thrown away. So much history got thrown away.
Ridiculous.
And then if you think about. If that happened to BMX Plus, it's like, I know it's just BMX, but there's so much history to it and so much, I don't want to see lost, and it's just such a scary time.
Yeah, well, I haven't spoken to him for a while, but I was kind of remained friends with this guy TLB, Tim Leighton Boyce, who was like the premier like English BMX photographer.
Yeah.
He worked for BMX Action, the English BMX Action, or was it BMX Action or and then that became Rad magazine.
Okay.
And I spoke to him, and he's getting on now, and he was just like, to be honestly, he's like, where I'm at right now and how old I am, he's like, because I was like, you must have so much rad shit, and he's like, it'll probably never see the light of day.
It stresses me out, like, and that's just because I'm such a BMX nerd. To where you're like, there needs to be some sort of organization or something that you can just be like, this is going here, it'll be in a safe spot,
Yeah, totally. Zoe's sister was married to Glenn Friedman for a while, and he gave me like a nice photo.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he gave me a nice photo of, I can't remember, the guy's dead now, but it's like a really old like photo of this dude riding Colton.
Jason Adams?
No, Jason, no. I can't think what the guy's name is. I researched it, and I figured out who it was, and he had passed away. But it's like he's like doing like it's like a tabletop, like kind of.
It's a BMX photo.
It's a BMX photo.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So it's got to be really early if Friedman shot it.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. She's not married to him anymore, but she lives like across the hallway from him because they had a kid together.
Yeah.
So, whenever I go, it's cool to go into his place and see like all that, like, you know, if you do the art, take a photo for an album cover and it goes platinum, you get like a platinum disc.
Yeah.
So he's got like all these platinum discs for all his, like,
because he shot so many album covers.
So many album covers, Minor Threat and Beastie Boys. You know,
that was just such
so, like when they got married, Zoe was the maid of honor and Ian McKay was the best man. I know,
that's crazy.
Like, I know, she was just this kind of like dream, like, you know, Manhattanite lifestyle.
Yeah, and it's weird because like that whole time, I mean, the 80s, I think people still latch on to that decade because everything, it was kind of like the first decade that things kind of went in fast forward compared to like their earlier ones where, so there was so much creativity and so much art and so much, just everything seems so new.
Yeah.
That like any of those, I mean, you look back and you're like, that was iconic. Oh, that was iconic. Oh, this was, you know.
Yep.
It's just crazy how much happened that decade.
Totally.
So, you know, so you grew up in England, or did you? Or did you grow up in Wales?
I was born in England, and then I moved to Wales when I was like 5.
And Wales is like, I'm so bad with it. It's like, is it southwest kind of or southwest central?
It's west.
Okay, someone's listening to this and it's like,
sorry, Midwest.
You can fuck me up or something.
But I literally live just inside the border of Wales. But I mean, you know, it's not like it's a different country, but it's part of the UK.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
part same rules. And
isn't Ian Morris is from there?
Ian Morris is from.
I think he's from Wales.
He's from Wales.
I'm probably wrong. Ian's gonna come at me. I don't know. But it's more like countryside and stuff. It's not a big like.
Oh yeah. It's like a lot of like castles and forests.
Oh, just castles.
Like the town I lived in. It's like a super historical town because it has like rivers on 3 sides somehow. So it's like a natural fortress.
Oh wow.
Supposedly the most haunted town in Great Britain.
Oh wow.
It was actually a really fun place to grow up. I'm glad I grew up there because, you know, it's like the town was probably like a mile square, but by the time I was 10, I was allowed to go anywhere in town, you know, and like we could go in the forests and like play soldiers and shit.
Oh, I grew up out in the
country. Town and shop.
I grew up in the country too. Like my town was 2,300 people, and it's like 4 hours from a freeway.
Yeah.
So you just be out in the woods wandering,
totally.
Just getting in weird woods trouble all day,
shooting air guns or whatever.
Oh, we had the real guns. We'd be my parents. We were out in the woods enough to where my parents were like, you can't go out in the woods unless you take a gun because they're like worried about a cougar or something.
So rad.
So how did you end up getting into BMX?
Well, yeah, I did live in the country, so even before like I heard like what BMX was, we would just have single speed bikes and we would put like, you know, straight handlebars on them, like kind of wide cow horn handlebars.
Yeah.
And we were already like dirt jumping and like doing like shit on our bikes anyways. And then I guess like around like 1980, a couple of my friends that like had like slightly wealthier parents, like somehow they got like, they were, you know, the 2 brothers and they like came out on these BMX bikes. And I can remember around the same time, like Rally released like some kind of BMX bike in England.
Was the Rally Burner or whatever?
Like the Rally Burner, like the just worst thing ever.
They have like the most slacked out head tube angle.
Yeah. I think the bikes my friends got were Huffies somehow. Like I remember they had like the square handlebars, and they were nice. And like, one of the guys was my age and one was younger, and a lot of the time he would let me take his brother's bike and we would go out ripping around on those. And I'm like, man, I gotta get one of these. My parents were like pretty poor though, and I like figured out even before I got one, I figured out I didn't want the Rally Burner. I could just tell it wasn't the one for me. And the hutches were pretty budget too, so I started buying the magazines, and I had my eye on the Diamondback Silver Streak.
Yeah,
it was kind of like it was like a couple £100, which was like a lot of money at the time.
Yeah,
my parents I think would spend like usually around £100 on me at Christmas, so it was like it'd be like 2 Christmas like.
Bikes were still pretty. Some bikes were really expensive in the early '80s. I mean,
yeah.
Like
I almost got a Mongoose. I almost got this Mongoose with like red tough wheels. I remember that, and I think it was like a little out of my price range. And then I got the Diamondback Silver Streak, which was the one I'd been wanting. So I was stoked on that. And then at some point, some kid, like after riding for a year or so, some kid came to town from. He was just visiting, you know, whatever, and we all rode, and he found the Posse of us that rode.
Yeah.
He had a Hutch Pro Racer, and like at the time I was pretty naive, I didn't really think about it, but like in retrospect I'm thinking maybe he like might have stolen it from someone where he lived because he really wanted to trade me.
Yeah.
And it was a way better bike. So either he was an idiot
Did you trade him?
Yeah, I traded him. Yeah, I got like the Hutch Pro Racer, and I actually rode. That was the same. I ended up having that bike forever until I got sponsored. It, like never.
So
broke.
you rode like quarter pipes and everything on that thing.
So it was like the second bike I ever had, and that was the one that I rode at Whole Shot.
Yeah.
I think I had it, and then before that I bought a Haro Master, and I think I broke that, and then I think I might have bought a Hutch Trickstar, and I broke that, and then I went back, like that thing just always like outlasted all the other ones. It was so simple, there wasn't really anything you could break. It had like the loop, the
loop tail.
Seemed pretty strong.
I mean, the Trickstar was just that with a bunch of things added onto it, but I bet you the head tube, the way it was set up. I think it was a little mellow.
I think the Pro Racer was probably better for riding ramps at the time.
Yeah,
it was like more
because the Trickstar was probably too flatlandy.
Yeah.
So then, how did you just run into some dudes that had a ramp, or like?
I got the bike. I instigated building the ramp.
Yeah.
Like a few of us got bikes at the same time, and we built. First we built like a kick turn, a wedge ramp.
Yeah.
And then. My dad knew I was looking for some wood, and so like one day he just like came home. He had like somehow found like some plywood somewhere, and then we built I remember we built like this 7-foot high quarter pipe, and like everyone was making fun of me. They were just like, "That's ridiculous! It's so high. There's no way we're gonna be able to get out the top of that." But actually happened pretty quick. We started like catching a little bit of air, and I was still really into racing at the time. That was like my
So you did race and stuff?
Yeah. I was like racing all like the local like regional stuff, and then there was a BMX track at Hereford, which was like pretty close to where I lived in Wales, but it actually was in England because we lived right on the border.
Yeah.
I started going over there because they had like a more serious BMX track, and there were like some more serious riders over there. There's one guy that like would dress exactly like Bob Haro, like their freestyle guy, and then. I think when I was like 16, I actually won my race. I'd never actually won like a race over there before.
Yeah.
And then afterwards they had a freestyle contest in the parking lot, and I won the freestyle contest too.
Shoot.
So I was like, and then that was pretty much like one of the last times I raced. Like after
you were just like it's all about the ramps and stuff.
Yeah, I was just hooked on the ramp after that.
And how old were you? How old were you then?
16, I think.
16.
Yeah. And then at the same time I had like started going. My parents. Around about that time, right around that time, which might be why I stopped racing too. Like we moved from England to Milton Keynes, or it's a little village called Old Stratford, but it's next to a city called Milton Keynes, which is like some people make fun of it. It's like one of England's like newer developments.
Okay.
Where it's like actually like based on an American city, where it actually has like a grid layout instead of just
crazy old school,
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty cool city now, I think, but like the little village they live in is just like a little pub town, and but it's only like an hour north of London.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could you take it in a car? There was no trains or anything?
No, there is a train, which back then actually it's amazing now because you can get the train will get there in like half an hour.
Yeah.
And they come all the time. Like back then, you could get an express train every hour, which would get you into the heart of London in like an hour.
And would you take the train down and ride?
Yeah, I was pretty much like never home. Like I would just, as soon as we lived there, I had about a year there where I went to like this local recreation center and convinced them to. Well, they had a half pipe, but it had just fallen into. It was derelict basically.
Yeah.
And I convinced them to like build a new half pipe and like orchestrated that, and it was. They were actually having sound issues, so I ended up like completely blocking the back end, and like the city provided a shit ton of sand, and we just filled it up with sand, so it was like boxed in. And
so when you just put the sand in the ramp, did it make the ramp stiffer than a normal ramp?
It was like a skate park.
It was just riding like concrete.
Yeah, it was like riding concrete. Super solid.
So I feel like when you moved into London, then did you start kind of riding with? Did you ride like Giot and like those dudes then?
Yeah, that's what I think I met Greg the first day I went down there. Yeah, and we went. So yeah, I was living in Milton Keynes, and I was like, I was 16 still, and we decided maybe I'm 15, maybe might have been younger, 15, 16 when we moved there, and then we decided maybe I was 15 when I won the race, and that. a long time ago.
Yeah.
But so we moved there, and I knew I was like striking distance from London, and we'd heard about this place Meanwhile. I think we'd just seen it in the magazine. I think Greg Gill had just been in the magazine doing his like topside no-foot can.
Yeah, I mean, he did everything as boned out as possible.
Yeah. So we headed down on the train and went to Meanwhile, and first day I was there, I met the whole crew, Greg Giot, my friend Nick Alcan, that I ended up spending a lot of time with, who was on one of our riders. And I think maybe not the first day, but within a couple of weekends, I literally started just going there every weekend. Yeah. The guy Nick Alcan I met, we bonded right away, and he's like, you can just stay with me, and I literally would just stay with him at his parents' house. I know how we got away with it, but just every weekend.
So was Meanwhile the name of a skate park, or was it just kind of a
Meanwhile
spot?
is the name of the area where there's around the corner there's this really mellow little skate bowl. It's pretty popular, and then around the other way, there's just this big open area with a slight incline downhill towards this wall, and they just built 2 8-foot high quarter pipes.
I think I've seen photos.
With a big mural in the background.
Yeah, I think I've seen photos. Yeah. Maybe photos of Greg riding it or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of me and Greg from there, because we were I think the roof was I think the ceiling was 14 feet, or we had the wall marked out. I think the ceiling was 12 or 13 feet maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Because I think the last mark on the wall was 10, and then there's a little bit more of a gap. So if you got 10 or 11 feet out of it, you're back, sometimes you're
scuffing the shoulder.
You scuff the shoulder on the top.
So it was a covered area and everything. So you guys could ride year round.
Exactly. So you could ride it year round. And it was a slight downhill to the quarter pipe, so you could just get ungodly amounts of speed.
Oh man, that sounds good.
And then me and Greg became best buddies too. Yeah. But we were always best buddies with a rivalry. Yeah. We would really push each other, and we'd get mad at each other and shit. But
are you guys about the same age?
Yeah, we're the same age, so we'd compete against each other in all the contests, and we'd be back and forth. Sometimes I'd win, sometimes he'd win. He was a better contest rider than me for sure. He was awesome rider.
He was very talented.
Yeah. Awesome rider. Yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome kid. I still keep in touch with him.
Yeah, I talked to Greg. I saw him down at Texas Toast and hung out with him a little. And
he was one of those just totally natural riders. Sometimes he could just do stuff right away.
It was crazy.
And then sometimes you get so inside his head that he couldn't. All of a sudden, he couldn't do it. He was one of the first ones that had the fly out itis.
We we talked about fly out itis with Eddie. Eddie's had fly out itis for 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, he can't get it out of his head.
Yeah.
No, when we were down at Texas Toast, I was hanging out with Greg and Eben Krakow.
Yeah.
And
another awesome rider.
Greg hadn't seen Simon Tabron since he lived over in England. Yeah. And Simon's up on this vert ramp, and Greg's like, "Hey, I'm coming up." And Greg has this beat. He has a Verde, but it's beat.
That's actually that's perfect, because that's how all his bikes.
Oh, it was beat. I remember
you'd have a Skyway on the wheel on the front.
Oh, I remember I messed with his bike a little just to get it rolling. He had an unsealed front wheel on the front of it.
Yeah.
He gets on the vert ramp, flies up, and Simon. I don't think they'd seen each other for 20 some years.
Yeah.
And you can see him talking, and
Simon's looking at him
you can see Simon maybe
yeah.
And then all of a sudden Greg just rolls into that ramp.
And he knows it right away.
And the ramp, that was a 13.5-foot ramp. I don't even think he rode a ramp that big.
Yeah.
He starts doing it's 4-foot airs, but if he hadn't ridden in a while, and he just it was you were holy shit, that's smooth, and no pads on, nothing, and. He's just taking runs it's no big deal on this clunker bike. It was crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, it was wild. And the look on Simon's face, you'd look at his eyes, his full face, you'd see him maybe glance down, and you're like, what the fuck? So, so then, how did you, was your first sponsor Hutch?
Yeah, I got sponsored by Hutch in the UK. They decided to put a team together over there, and they picked me as their ramp rider, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was for maybe a year or something like that I was in England, and then yeah, like I said, Ron Stabane, he connected me with Kevin Martin and all that when I came over here, so that was cool. And they actually, ironically, didn't send me to the Flint, Michigan contest. I was like dating this girl over here at the time, whose parents were like pretty well off, and her mom would just fucking love me to death, and was like, you know, she was like, we really want you to go to this contest, you know, and so she paid for me.
Was that the first time you came to the States?
Yeah, well, I've been here, like I said, my friend and I came over on vacation for a month, and I just decided, I was just like, this is like the place for me. I'm like, BMX had gotten like a really bad rap in England, like the media portrayed it like in a really like childish way. Yeah. The magazines were really cool. Like the magazines were amazing, but like on television outside and like, you know, only
because you guys had like
BMX Beat and
stuff,
and then BMX Bandits was big in England. So
yeah, because BMX Beat like an after school show or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where they had like, you know, compulsory things that you had to do, like compulsory.
I've seen that on YouTube, like where it's like BMX Beat, and I'm like, this looks like a show that'd be on at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was like on kids TV.
But it was just all BMX
like Saturday
stuff.
morning TV, I think it was, yeah.
It's like really cool.
It was cool. It is really cool.
But it's at the same time, it's, you know, you're like, it seemed like it was geared towards like 8-year-olds.
Yeah. At the time, like that was going on, we were all like, wanted to be more like, you know, cutting edge. We didn't want to wear uniforms and shit like that, and like, you know.
Was that, you like seeing dudes like Grosso and stuff over there, over in the States?
And, you know, Dave Slade.
Yeah.
And, like, just everyone in England was like more grungy. They didn't want to like.
I mean, yeah, you guys. I mean, that whole scene, like, you know, you guys definitely.
I mean, like the scene, the scene at that time in England was just incredible. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like,
well, what right?
Carlo Griggs.
Carlo Griggs. I mean,
fucking God, Mike Cannon, just like
amazing. Let's name some of the dudes, because like people don't even realize how. I mean, that pocket of dudes that I think you grew up were so influential on BMX at the time. Like, and everybody went on to just be like, I mean, they were all like powerhouses, you know, I mean,
well, Carlo for sure, and Greg Guillot, and Terry Jenkins, Dave Slade, Craig Campbell, Mike Cannon, Jason Ellis, Scott Carroll, who ended up passing away.
Yeah, awesome was Simon like a younger dude?
Peppy Winder, Simon Tabron, who was a few years younger than us.
Yeah. And was Jamie in that crew, or? And
then Jamie, funnily enough, never was like part of our crew, so I actually didn't remember. I know he was like, he entered some of the contests that we were entering back in the day, but I didn't know him back then at all. Yeah. Like right around the time that I moved out here in like '88 was when he like kind of came on the scene. I think he actually might have been the person that replaced me on Hutch.
Oh wow!
When I moved over here.
So when you moved over here, Hutch they were like, we're done with you?
No. So my girlfriend's mom ended up paying for me to go to the Flint, Michigan contest. Yeah. So like Hutch didn't pay for me, but they're like, I think they got my room, or I stayed in a room with Chris Potts and Ron Stebbin.
Yeah.
And so I came out, I'd never met like, you know, a lot of the like all these people I'd seen in the magazine for years that like I just like had been idolizing.
Yeah.
I'd never met them, and then it's like all of a sudden I'm like at this contest with end up like, you know, coming third place to like.
Were you riding AM at that contest?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I came third to like Matt and Dino, and like I think Bob Cole came in fourth, and
dude,
like,
Matt at that contest?
Yeah, I know.
His pump was dude, you watch him pump that ramp. I remember he has like a sport. He's got this yellow Haro shirt on.
Yeah.
And he's literally going 5 feet higher.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. Like injury, Matt. Like he's fresh, and you can just tell when he's riding how fresh he is.
Yeah.
But I remember that contest because that's like literally. I watched like the 2-hip videos. Yeah. That's like my favorite contest to watch, just because it just seemed epic, you know. And it seemed like everybody was there. But you almost landed a 900 at that contest.
Yeah, I tried 3 900s. Like I almost landed one.
And a no-foot 540.
Yeah, I'd already like pulled a no-footed I already like pulled like a no-footed one-handed 540 in England, like during like a photo shoot. But like, it was like no video or anything, just like photo. And then I think they got a video sequence. Oh no, they got like a photo sequence of me pulling like a no-footed 540. But this like just one particular day, we had this jam at our friend's house, like up north. James Hudson, actually.
Yeah, backward drop in.
Yeah.
Is that am I talking about the right guy?
Yeah.
Where he'd sit on his bike backwards and drop in on vert.
Like you know when you ride your hands sitting on the handlebars, like that.
Dude,
I think I've actually seen this.
Yeah. I've sat. I saw that.
So he came from like a family of BMXers. There were 3 brothers that were all pretty close to age.
Yeah.
That all just shredded on vert, and they all had like totally different styles. Like Mick Hudson, his younger brother, was just a total shredder, like younger kid. And then John Hudson, his other brother, was like more of like the street guy, but still rode vert. And they had this ramp in their backyard in Retford that was just like built from like, you know, signs they had taken from like, you know, construction sites around town and stuff. So it was just like total, like both sides were totally different, like totally like different transition, different height.
Yeah.
Like, you had to like, you know, because it was all different colors, you'd know like, okay, I got to hit it right, like where the A is or whatever, you know, like on a sign. And like something weird happened that day. It was me and Jason Ellis and Scott Carroll and Mike Cannon and Andy Brown, I think. Yeah. And we were just like all trying to outdo each other and just high on adrenaline, just like gnarly, just. And like that day, like we were all just like trying like variation 540s, and you know, it was a sick day. And so I think in Flint, Michigan, I don't know if I pulled a no-footed. I think I pulled a no-footed 540.
I think you did, but
well, not a great one.
What do you? So that was your first American contest.
So yeah, that was my first contest, and then I ended up coming third. I'm like super stoked.
Were you like super intimidated by all the dudes like you'd seen in America, or did you get there and just feel like, okay, our level of riding's right here with these guys?
Yeah. I would only ever get mad if I like didn't do as well. I get mad at myself.
Yeah.
I always, you know. I wasn't ever intimidated because I didn't really care if I won or lost.
Okay,
But it was just like super fun, and it was more of a jam than anything. You know?
It seemed like it was a super good vibe.
Yeah, so just getting to ride with all these dudes that I'd like heard about, and then afterwards you go back to the hotel, and everyone's like, everyone wants to rage basically.
Yeah.
So I just got like drinking, and end up they were like basically all packed up, like waiting for me back at the hotel, like in the morning when I rolled in, and Ron Steban's like pretty Christian. Yeah. And so like he's like you're being suspended from the team, and I'm like, well, all you did was give me a bike anyway. So I'm like I quit. So.
And then did you just stay over in the States after that?
Yeah, I just stayed. I was like after I spent that first month at the Ramp House, we all became like super buddies, and they just like wanted me to come back, and so they're like, you know, you can just like live here and like, you know, just see what happens if you know, sleep on the floor when you can pay rent. And so when I started like getting some money, I paid rent and lived off of like rice basically.
I've done that
just
too.
so I could just ride all day, every day.
Rice, like butter, and salt. Yep. I lived off of that for a while.
Yeah, and we'd like still take condiments when we're out somewhere, so we'd like mix different stuff in with the rice, like ketchup one day, maybe crack an egg in it if I'm feeling like indulgent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like.
So you're just staying at the Enchanted house after that.
Yeah, so then I like quit Hutch, and I didn't really want to ride the bike. It must have been like right around that same time Matt came out to stay with us for like a week or so, which was also awesome too, because you know, just like riding every day with like Matt or someone like that, my riding was just getting like, you know, like the first time I went down to Meanwhile in London, I think like I got maybe like 6 feet out, and after like a month of going down there, I was getting like 10 or 11 feet, like because other people were, so it's like all of a sudden you're like, well, you know, it's just the thing to do, I guess, you know. And then riding with Matt, like when he would come out and stay with us, up my game. And that first time he came out, he went over to Haro and got a new bike, so he just gave me his old bike. So I was riding
That
Haro.
actually seems so sketchy when you think about it.
You're right. He just gave me like his old Haro Sport. So I started riding that a little bit, and then I think pretty shortly after that, Trend BMX hit me up, and they're like, hey, we're looking to like sponsor some riders. I'd already met those guys, Larry and Greg. Yeah. And all the Texas guys. So they're just like, you know, we'll just hook you up with stuff. We'll sponsor you. Yeah. So you know, they sent me a Haro Sport, but they took the stickers off it and put, you know, Trend stickers on it. Dope. And then rode for them. They took care of me. They sent me out they sent me to the Wichita, Kansas AFA contest, which is the only AFA contest I ever went to. And only one I ever rode in. I think I went to one other. And did I'm trying to think about the Wichita one. That's where Ron unfortunately had his crash. Like literally, me and him were buds at the time, because by then I was dating Shannon, that was Stacy's sister.
Yeah.
So I would like, you know, and after he moved out of the ramp house, he just moved right up the street. So we'd go up there and do family dinner, and so we were getting like super close. And so I was just like right there by the ramp, like fucking supporting him. So I literally was like maybe like 20 feet away when he fucking ate.
And what I mean, that feels like to me like one of the first really bad, like traumatic injuries in BMX.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that like? Being, I mean, because it just seems nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, especially being like so connected with his family at the time.
Yeah,
and he had like the little ones. Yeah, it was crazy. Gnarly to see too. It's like an impact like that. Yeah, it makes you like question things sometimes.
I mean, was there a vibe after that? Like you're like in the BMX community, like your guys like, oh, are we pushing things too far, or is things?
It didn't seem to stop anybody.
Okay, I mean, it's just like one of those things that because you weren't there and you're just like,
Here's to say, when you see someone hurt themselves that bad, it definitely makes you think about it.
Yeah.
But he was wearing a fucking Haro mouth guard, which was.
Well, yeah, joke on.
When I came out, the first month I was here, I think maybe the first week. I think I'd only been here like a week or so, and Spike came down to do a photo shoot with me at the Enchanted Ramp.
Yeah.
Freestyling. The one where I'm doing like the invert or whatever. Like I got like a pretty sick shot out of it. But at some point during that day, I can remember it too. I did a turn down, and it was like, it was pretty high, and I think I was wearing a bunch of those 80s like bracelets,
Oh, yep.
And like my brake lever got like caught in the bracelet or something, so like I couldn't like quite unclick all the way. So when I landed, my front wheel was still a little bit turned, and I just fucking catapulted over the handlebars, and I was wearing the Haro mouth guard too.
Yeah.
And just like straight onto my face, and I smashed both my front teeth out, but like one of them, like I hit it down like that, and the whole tooth with the root and everything like pushed through my lip. And Spike said he found it like 20 feet from where I crashed.
Whoa, so you hit it hard.
Yeah, it's like, because I had the mouth guard on too, so I didn't really know.
I think those mouth guards did more harm than they.
I swear they did.
Dude, because I saw one of my buddies wrecked, and it cut the shit out of the bottom of his nose.
Yeah.
And I just remember like.
Yeah, I had like a hole. Like I had like the hole from here. My lip was still a little of my lip holding it together, but they put the. You put the water in your mouth and screw it out, and it's just like...
Oh, my gosh. Sounds insane. So, out of, like, that, your whole scene from back home, were you one of the first guys from over there to really come over? And then were you like, hey, guys, it's good? And then... Because there was a full, like, British invasion. Like, you know...
I would say, Craig was the first one to come over. When Craig was actually the first guy to ride for Haro outside of the US. He got sponsored by Haro back in the day, and then after that they formed this company Profile. Yeah. And he was their rider, and they sent him out here for the one of the last King of the Skate Parks contests.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so he came out, but he was only out here for a short trip. But
it just seems like scary. I remember somebody just going, "Go ride that enormous, insane bull. Yeah, have fun."
And he did good too. He did really good. And then shortly after that, this guy Jess Dyrenforth.
Yeah, Jess.
Yeah, Jess moved out here. He came out.
He had sick style.
Yeah, he was a good guy too. Me and him were really good friends.
He still lives out here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's like
a masseuse. A massage therapist.
Yeah. No, I just do that Go cover of him on the LA courthouse banks. That 1 foot cable.
Yeah.
Man, that photo is so sick.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. Me and him actually, when we were just doing shows to make a living after the bottom kind of fell out of the industry, we were doing the bicycle safety assemblies and Just Say No to Drugs at the high schools. And it was me and him. We would do the shows together for a long time.
I always, when I was younger, I always thought he had pretty sick style. Yeah. And he rode for GT in England too, didn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
So it seemed like he was on GT for a long time.
Yeah. So I knew he was out here. I even remember doing an interview for BMX Mag in England, and they're like, I'm like, I just want to move to California like Jess or whatever. Yeah. I mean, my bedroom walls were adorned with vert pictures from California. 90% of them are from California. So I was visualizing it every day, So, and came out on vacation, and I was just like in love with it. Like I said, it had been portrayed like, I think, really badly in England.
Yeah.
You know, like girls, like if we went out as a group together, you wouldn't even mention to girls that.
It was definitely different. I mean, I lived in Oregon, but it was different. Nowadays, I think, you know,
it wasn't cool.
Girls will be like, "Oh, you're a pro BMXer," you know, and it's not even weird. But back then, it really sucked if you had to like fully break down and explain what you did.
Yeah.
You know.
But all of a sudden, I came to like San Diego, and there was like a culture for that stuff, and like.
I mean, the scene in San Diego was crazy back then.
Crazy, yeah.
I mean, it feels like that scene back then. There was probably like 6 different pockets of crews.
Yeah. There was some good crews. You know, the Dirt Brothers, who I swear we dubbed them that name.
Yeah.
Because they would like come to our like house, and like they'd be like riding, smoking cigars and like drinking, and they always looked a little bit grimy. Their bikes were just like the biggest pieces of shit.
Oh god.
Like, and they'd be like, I remember Brad? I remember one of them like pulling a 540 on the ramp, like just this gnarly 540, like kind of a hard landing, and the ash like falling off their cigar when they landed.
Yeah, you had like the Dirt Bros, and then what other kind of?
And then there was like the Camarillo crew.
Yeah, like Josh White and Dino
and Todd.
Yeah,
and Steve.
Now, here's something.
Marty Schlesinger. Yeah.
Do you think their height pole was rigged?
I don't know. Still one of my favorite vert pictures is the Todd Anderson 1-footer where he's just like, it's just like the most stretched out, like inverted, like goofy 1-footer, and it looks like he's like the bike's like 12 feet out or something.
I was just here. I mean, all those dudes rage so hard, but everybody says.
I didn't know that.
Like if you see a normal person standing there, and they'll be like 6.5 feet tall, like everybody's 6.5 feet tall. I think Dennis, I think it was at one of the old school jams, Dennis was talking to Josh White and was like, now, come on, let's just be real about the height pole, you know, so. And then there was like kind of like the flatland scene, like Dave Norrie and kind of, I think, that crew too.
Yeah, there were a bunch of guys that would meet over in Mission Beach and like have flatland jams on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Dave, I suppose, was part of our crew because he would come to the ramp every day. Yeah, I'd hang out with him a lot.
Yeah.
But he was also, you know, part of like the East San Diego.
He like kind of went between Dirt Bro. He seemed like he floated.
He was
around.
from the same area as them, but a little bit more like, you know, clean cut, had his shit together.
Yeah.
And and then a lot of the guys, I mean, just because we lived where we lived too, like, you know, all the crews would come down from LA all the time.
Who were some of the guys that would come down from LA back then?
Well, the freestyling guys would come down a lot because one of my roommates was Haji, who was Spike's best friend.
Yeah.
So that was like our connection with him. So he would be down. Spike would come down and hang out like on a very regular basis.
Was Spike still riding a little at that time?
Yeah, Spike would still rode a little.
Yeah, I mean he ripped, didn't he?
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
And then he got into skateboarding, which he was also good at, and then
he got into everything else that he's good at.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah, at that time you're riding for Haro. And
I was riding for Trend, and then,
it was just Trend.
And then, and then Haro needed a vert rider because I think Matt left to do his thing.
Oh, really? So that was like 89, probably.
Yeah, 89, 88, 89. I was riding for them by like early 89 for sure because I went on tour for them in the summer of 89.
Okay.
With Moliterno and Gritola for the first half of the tour, but those guys like butted heads super hard, so we ended up switching Gritola out for Jess Dyrenforth for the second half.
Oh, so Jess rode for Haro for a minute too?
Yeah.
Did Haro? Was their touring schedule as grueling as GT's at the time?
Last summer was pretty gnarly because like we only had, you know, they had done like 2 teams on the road like in previous years, but this year it was just like that year was just one team.
Yeah.
So. I think it was just one team. Yeah, I think we did like 60 something shows.
Dang.
Yeah. And you know, like certain big bike shops would have like first dibs on the weekends. Because I remember when they first hired me, I helped Bill Hawkins like book the tour. Like I was like kind of his like right hand man. I'd go with him every day, and so I booked a lot of the shows. But like it was sometimes you'd have to like backtrack so far, you know, like wasn't super fluid because, you know, certain shops want you on the weekends.
And like you guys had the big shows like Rockville and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then were you still going to 2 hip contests at that time?
Yeah, I was. That would have been, I think the end of that summer. The end of that summer is when we did the 2 hip Paris contest.
Okay, yeah.
And I ended up like getting second behind Matt at that one, and that was like really one of the last contests
that you entered.
Yeah.
And before we kind of go into stuff after that, because I know, when was that Paris contest? Like 89? 89?
Yeah.
I still want to touch base more just on like that whole crew, like because
that was like such a great time too, like traveling out there with that crew, and I was Joe Johnson had moved into the ramp house by that time.
Joe Johnson was amazing,
and just like such an amazing dude too.
Yeah,
and I still he comes out here on business sometimes, and we hung out a couple of times. That I would say that was probably what like pushed my riding the most. Like going on tour all summer was great too. Like just like having to ride every day, and my riding was pretty dialed. But living with Joe was the best. And just riding with him every day.
Did you pick up tail whip airs from Joe?
I think I was one of the first few people to land tail whip airs.
No, that's what I was thinking. Like after Joe, like I was like,
I think maybe like Gary Pollock landed one, and then like I just started like trying them every show on tour, and I think by like halfway through tour I started like landing them without putting my foot down, because it's like so tempting to put your foot down on those.
Yeah, because I just remember Matt, I feel like, did them fairly quick.
Matt was doing them for sure.
And I remember you doing tail whips, and I mean at that time it's like that just seemed like the impossible trick,
I was stoked.
It was impossible, and then Joe Johnson's doing doubles and trying triples.
Yeah, he was such an amazing rider.
I mean, he still rides a little.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, so
he was at. I've been to 2 of the Woodward reunions, and he was at one of them.
Yeah. So, was that the last Haro summer tour? Probably.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
I mean, did you guys? Some people I'll talk to about the tours, and some people I'm like really surprised on how tame they are on the tours, and I think it's because they're just so tired.
Yeah.
But did you guys like?
I was just pretty wild.
You guys wiling out?
I was just pretty wild.
any you guys get in trouble? Any good things happen? Bad things happen?
There were a couple of run-ins with the law. I remember we had to go. What that was for? We had to go pick Kevin Martin up from. They didn't go to jail, but they detained him and took him to the police station for a little while. What was that for? We said, one of the things we decided when we left San Diego that we weren't allowed to cross a state line unless we had a photograph of a set of boobies. And we went to I think we did 40 states. And we were pretty strict about it. I remember being in Georgia and turning around at the border to Florida to go back, and we found a Dairy Queen where we coerced the lovely ladies that were working there to help us. We're like, we can't. You gotta help us. We literally can't cross the border into Florida. And we had that. We had a little, that was displayed in the
van,
back of the van.
So some young kid came to the van to get stickers. He was in for an extra treat.
Yeah. That was pretty fun,
When you were driving around.
But nothing too crazy. I think most of us had girlfriends, so.
Yeah.
But, what else? I remember there was some pretty crazy stuff. We sticking our asses out of the windows, when we were driving through towns. I remember I had this little window in the back that you could just stick your ass out of perfectly. And, There was one mall we went to. We'd always be daring each other to do stupid shit. I think we pulled our t-shirts over our heads and ran through a mall with our butt sticking out at one stop.
And you're like, no, we'll get away totally fine. We're just the van that says Haro that's pulling the ramp. No big deal. No, we got this. No one's gonna know it's us.
We got it wired where we could we knew how to kind of swipe the trailer. We could jack kind of swipe the trailer a little bit so it swing out and hit things like cones on the side of the road and barrels and shit like that.
You guys are just getting squirrely.
Yeah. we wouldn't pull over to change driver, you know,
just switch
on the go. Yeah, it was pretty scary.
Yeah,
that thing burnt down on the way home. I was driving when that happened.
When the van burnt down?
Yeah, driving. We decided we dropped Rick off in wherever he lives,
Davenport,
Iowa.
Yeah.
And then we were just, we all wanted to get home, and we just wanted to get home. So like, let's just drive it straight through. We'll just, switch off, do shifts.
Yeah.
And we got into Kansas, and I was like towards the end. I'd been driving for a while. They were all asleep in the back. And at one point during the tour, like one of the tires on the trailer had like started rubbing on the trailer, and like I was driving that time too. And I remember looking back and just seeing like black smoke behind, and that's what it ended up being, the trailer, like a blowout, whatever. So like same thing, we're driving to Kansas, and I look back and I see black smoke behind us, and I'm like, think it's the same thing. So I pull over on the side of the road and like turn around. I'm like just casually like, hey guys, if I gotta wake up, we got a problem. I think the tire's rubbing again. And like they get up and they're looking like in my direction, and they I can see this look in their eyes, and they start grabbing their shit. And I look forward, and all you can see is flames.
So the ramp's just up in flames?
No, in front of me, the engine of the...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they... Because it turns out the transmission was on fire, and like when I was driving, it was like keeping it, it was like just blowing
the wind
back.
Yeah.
And as soon as I stopped, the flames just like went to the engine and just like caught on fire. So they were literally jumping out of the back door, like grabbing shit. I had like, at the time I carried a briefcase which had like all my important stuff in it, which I grabbed that and got out. And for whatever reason, I don't know why but it was burning back, and for some reason we disconnected the trailer. I think because our bikes and shit had some merch. There was stuff in the trailer, so we decided to disconnect the trailer, and we just like pushed the van down a little bit away from it, and it was like burning back pretty good. We'd already called a truck stopped, or someone called in the fire department, I think, by that point. Yeah, a truck did stop, and he tried to put it out, but his fire extinguisher, didn't have enough juice in it or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he CB'd to the local town, which had like one of those volunteer departments where I think they like ring a bell.
Yeah.
And, like the one guy's a butcher or whatever, and like they all like drop their trade and like run off, and so by the time they got there, it was just like a smoldering chassis. It was just like smoking, and we literally stood on the other side of the road and just watched all of our photos that we had collected.
Oh, the boobies, the boobies.
And I think Jess didn't even have a pair of shoes. He forgot to grab a pair of shoes out of the van.
What? And Bob was Bob still part of the company then?
I think Bob at that point he was still the president. He had sold it, and then
what did they say when you called and told them?
They all thought that to this day they think that we were like smoking a doobie. That was what they maintained. They always said that. You guys, even now they'll ask me, because I know how that rumor started, but they're like you can tell us now, Lee. Was it really doobie? I'm like, no, it wasn't. I didn't even fucking smoke weed back then.
You're like, it would be so much better if it was.
Yeah, it'd be a great story.
When you were riding for Haro in the early days and stuff, was Bob still the one kind of picking out the riders, and was he still hands-on with that, or was he?
Yeah, when I first moved out here, I remember the first time that I went over there and hung out with him and met him. He gave me that day. He gave me I believe it was like the very first Bash Guard Master.
Yeah.
To test out, and I took it, and he was still calling the shots.
Yeah.
Like totally involved in it.
Did he still ride a little, or was his knee pretty much toast?
I've never seen him. I think I might have seen him ride at BMX Beat back in the day. But,
yeah.
But I've never seen him ride when out here now.
So I'm a big Bash Guard guy. I love the Bash Guards. And but they're giving you a Bash Guard bike to test out, but you didn't really ride much. Did you ride much street back then?
I rode a little bit of street, but vert was always my thing for sure.
Did you hate the bike because it was too heavy?
No, too short.
It was too. Did you like the sport geometry?
I've been riding a sport,
Yeah.
I didn't really care for the extra weight and the short geometry, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
I ended up breaking it like halfway through tour, or maybe like a little bit of the way through tour, and then they just whatever next bike shop we went to, they gave me whatever Haro called them and told them to give me a bike. Luckily, they didn't have the bash guard, so I got like a black Sport. So I was like, way happier with that. Yeah, I like the Sport geometry.
I think most people like the Sport geometry.
Yeah, it's a great bike.
It's weird that they made the Sport bash guard ones.
But it was like
they made those Sport bash guard ones.
Yeah.
But then they went with the Master, which is weird because it's more the Flatland one.
Right. I know, it's kind of weird.
So.
Yeah. I know, I actually like gave them like, well, when I was on tour, I like drew up a design for the one where the bar just like came down and became the bash guard.
The Sport.
Yeah.
They did the Air Master, so that was kind of your idea. I mean, take credit where credit's due.
I can show. Like, actually, funnily enough, just found the drawing the other day. And I was going to post it. I'll find it for you.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Rooftop was just at my shop, and he just picked. I found a Sport like that because we're both super into collecting bash guard bikes, and he was super into it. And I
had the drawing. I gave it to Bob, and they were. I mean, things were going really well, like at Haro for me at the time, and but I hadn't been. I wasn't a salary rider. I'd just been doing shows. They paid me to go on tour, and I've been going to contests. But it was the first of the year. There was, I was going to sign a contract, supposedly have, my own bike.
Oh wow.
Get a salary, and then I was training for the. I was not training. I was just riding like I do every day. But the 2-hit finals was coming up. I think it was a week away.
What, the 89 or 90?
90. I think it was the 90. What were those? No, maybe it was 89. Or maybe it wasn't the finals. Maybe it was the first one. It was the one they had in Anaheim.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The one where it was. Is that the one where Mira showed up as a little kid?
I think maybe Mira was there. Simon. Jason Ellis from England came out.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of English riders.
That's where James Hudson did the backward drop in.
Yeah. I think that contest is a week away. All the riders, a lot of the riders are out already because Bob Cole, I know, had been over at our house riding. And then I had been meaning, what's his name, Brad McDonald for ride, had been hitting me up to do a photo shoot for a while. I'd flaked out a couple of times, things had come up, and then this one particular day he was coming down, and for whatever reason, we went over to our friend's house, my girlfriend and I, for dinner, and just ended up getting fucking shit-faced, hammered. Tried to call him in the morning, but he'd already left, and I didn't want to flake out again, so I just went and did the photo shoot anyways, and ended up doing a grind on the ramp and just grinding off the side of the ramp. I remember pulling my brake to try and stop.
Just like a sprocket grind or feeble grind or something?
On my pegs.
Yeah.
A peg grind, just a peg grind. So I just went off the end of the ramp, not that big of a deal really, but when I was falling, somehow my foot went inside the front triangle. So when I landed, I fell over, and then my foot just broke every bone and tendon. The doctor said it was just a skin holding my foot on.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was just a full on, there's no music playing, so just this loud snap, and I just looked down, and I'm just broke my foot. I was all on adrenaline, so I wasn't really feeling the pain too much for a little while, but ended up being put me out for a while, and it was before I signed my contract with Haro.
And did they not? Did they cancel it?
I was living. Well, they're not going to sign a contract with someone that. It was a year before I could work again properly.
Yeah.
Really, I was bedridden for 3 months or something.
Oh, that's horrible.
And then ended up moving back to England because I wasn't making any money because I wasn't doing shows. So I moved back to England with my parents, and no one, all my friends that I rode with in my town had all stopped riding, and just had to start working. And I thought I was gonna end up staying over there, pretty much. I thought it was a done deal.
Yeah.
And then. The doctor said I'd limp my whole life. They didn't even seem to think it would heal properly.
Yeah. I
was super into. I've always been obsessed with pyramids, and I've always been obsessed with supernatural shit. And, And I was obsessed. I'm still obsessed with pyramids, but I was reading a book on them at the time. So I remember when I was bedridden, I built this exact replica of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. That was probably 3 feet by 3 feet on the base, and had my foot inside the pyramid so that it would heal, and just and just fucking and just visualize. I was reading all these things about the power of visualization and how, like, you know, before you go to sleep, visualize like this little miniature construction team that are just getting set up to start work on your ankle, and they're all like going to work, and then they're going to work on it all night, like overnight, and like fix that shit up. And it healed like great. It healed great, and ended up, thought I was going to stay in England, but then my uncle wanted to come out here on vacation. He's like, "You've been out here, you know, come show me California."
Yeah.
And like came out, and then I came back out, and like fell in love with it again. I'm like, fuck, I gotta come back here. So came back and couch surf for a little bit, lived with Bill Hawkins, the Haro team manager. Me and him were super good buds, so he let me live with him for a while. And actually, like, he was the GT team manager by then. Yeah. So like he actually hooked me up, you know, with like a GT sponsorship, and I did one show for GT with Brian Blyther and who else was it? Maybe Volker. It was Volker, Blyther, me, and like someone else. We took the GT half pipe thing, the rig that they had. Yeah. Went up to Northern California to do a show, and during the show, like, you know, the ramp was like this high off the ground. Yeah. During the show, I did a 540 and like landed, like, you know, like flipped out a little bit and like let go of my bike, and it went off the side of the ramp, and like my peg hit some like kid in the head. Like, shut up. Yeah. There's some little kid that was like, they let everyone get like super close to the ramp. There were no like, you know, it was just. Oh my god. Yeah. So that was the first and last show I did for GT.
Were they just like?
Well, it was, they ended up having to like, I don't know what they did. They had to like give him, I don't know, a bunch of money, but they had to like do something to like butter him up. But yeah, it was pretty gnarly. Whoa. Like, peg smashed him in the head. It was bleeding. The ambulance had to come, and I felt like complete shit, obviously.
Oh, that's like, crazy.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Wow. Yeah, that would be.
It almost hurts worse when you. If it does, it hurts worse to hurt someone else than it does to hurt yourself.
I can imagine.
You know that, right? It's like, fuck. I way wish it'd been my head that had been cut open.
Kind of touching back, like, I know we were talking about it before, you know, I kind of hit record. Some of the dudes, like, you grew up riding with, like, we were talking about, like, David Slade, and how he went on, I mean, to be a pretty big-time movie director, like, directing, like, the Twilight movies. Yeah. Did he kind of roll with the, like, Anarchy Adjustment dudes, or was that kind of...
Not really. He was, I mean, if anything, he might have even been like a little bit before them. He was from Northern England. Yeah. Sheffield. Yeah. They had their own like scene up there for sure. Like Peppy Winder, do you ever hear of him?
Yeah.
He was like big, you know, and even Scott Carroll. There was definitely like a north and south divide. Yeah. But the Anarchic Adjustment crew, they were cool too. Yeah. Nick.
Here, hold on. I bet you these guys are going to come through.
A little bit.
So yeah, the Anarchy Adjustment guys.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually bought. Well, yeah, Dave Slade and who was? I'm trying to think. But Action Zone. They made some handlebars too. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
That's like the first time I met Nick. Actually, he had his first thing was he set up a mail order BMX business. Yeah. That was like it, and it was in BMX Action Bike, and I happened to have the address on there, and like. I'd never even really heard of mail order before. I thought it was just a shop. Yeah. So like we all went down to London and like went by the address. It turned out it was like his house. It was like kind of awkward. Like we knocked on the door and then he took us down in his bedroom, and I ended up buying a pair of pink Action Zone handlebars. Yeah. Which were sick, like super dope.
And Nick
kind of like designed like I always liked that Haro design where it got like any, you know, narrow in the middle there. Yeah.
He I mean, it seemed like whenever you'd see, like, the Anarchy Adjustment stuff, it was, like, such the anti, like, jerseys and everything, and everything just seemed, you know, all the shirts had weird sayings and stuff on them, and...
Yeah, I think he came from, like, you know, his parents were definitely, like, a little more, like, educated and that kind of were, you know, like I think most of our parents are pretty normal. Yeah. You know, obviously, you know, he knew some shit that we didn't. He was, like, pretty revolutionary and... anti-government and punk rock. He did his heroin Satan fuck t-shirt.
Yeah, no, I remember the one, but it was all black. It was black on black.
Shirt, yeah.
Just enough to where somebody could catch it, some mom or something, and get pissed.
Yeah. He was never an exceptional rider, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
He was a celebrity on the scene, though. He like when they brought out those wheel covers.
Yeah.
I think they did. There was something where you got like some kind of compensation if you were the first one to get them like on the cover of a magazine, and like somehow he managed to like get the magazines to come and like shoot him, and they liked the way it looked with the covers, and he ended up getting like on the cover of like the magazine. So he was like instantly like. He was out of nowhere. He's like on the cover of the BMX magazine.
That's crazy.
And he would just dress like super crazy, and he was like super photogenic for the magazine.
He has like dreadlocks back in the day and stuff.
Yeah, like dreadlocks and then when Tim Layton Boyce, who I was telling you about, the photographer, those guys like bonded, and they're the ones that that did Read and Destroy magazine, Rad Mag, which is
okay.
Nick was the editor, and Tim was the photographer. It was just the two of them.
Yeah, I don't even think I've seen any of those issues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Trainer had a few at the office.
Yeah.
So
I'll get you. I can show you some rad shit too.
Yeah, I'd be super psyched. So yeah, a few people like us talking like Evan Krakow and a few dudes, and they're like, "Oh, we got some questions." Questions. One person, I totally forgot who sent me this, but they wanted me to have you explain what a salty biscuit was. and if you wanted to share that with the audience.
I thought it was soggy biscuit, but there's a few names for it.
Yeah.
I've never personally played the game, but it's like an old English, like kind of like a boys' school tradition where, you get the biscuit and you all get in a circle around it, and
oh, I see where we're going.
the last one that manages to
I see where we're going. I see where we're going on this. Is that something that happened a lot back then?
No, it's just something that I'd heard about.
My God. Yeah. I think when they, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll ask him that. No big deal, guys.
Salty
oh my
biscuit.
God.
That makes sense.
But yeah, Evan really wants to know how did you end up stretching cans as far as you did? I mean, that's kind of like a trick. You're like, I mean, it's kind of, every rider.
I can still, it's been a couple of years since I rode vert, I guess now, but the last time I did, it's like the one trick out of all of them that I can still do. Like,
yeah.
And I'm the most unlimber person ever. My wife tries to make me do yoga sometimes, and I'm like totally unflexible. And even back in the day, I feel like I wasn't the most limber person, but like for some reason, I don't know, when I do that.
Oh yeah, I mean
But like people think it's all about the legs too, but it's like so much about the arms to get it that
yeah, because you want to push it, right?
You got to really get your arms like back here to get the separation.
Yeah, which photo is it? That black and white one? Is it the Flint, Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh, that photo is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at your foot on the pedal, it's like just kind of your pinky toes holding on to the pedal.
It looks like you'd think I didn't make it for sure, but I didn't crash a can that weekend, so I must have.
When you were riding growing up and stuff, what are kind of like your favorite spots that you grew up riding? Like what are was there anything that spots?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that half pipe that I built that was filled with sand for a while, and then when I started going down to London, it was always Meanwhile, where we had the quarter pipes under. It was actually under a freeway.
Were those ramps nice, or were they?
They were what we liked. I mean, they were 8 foot high, 8 foot wide quarter pipes, and there were 2 of them, so we could move them apart and have like a canyon.
Yeah.
They weren't exactly the same, so if you put them together, it was like a little bit different. But it was kind of they were pretty much the same size as the contest ramps at the time, so it's like what we were riding. Yeah. So they weren't great, but I loved it. It's like what I was used to. And then when we would get bored of riding there, we would usually go to Romford Skate Park. Yeah. Which was awesome. Like, that was super fun. They had the huge performance ball. I'm sure they fixed it up a lot now. It was like, pretty... Is
Rom the one with like with one... Is it Satan's Toilet or whatever? That extension in it? Is that this...
No, that's South Sea.
That's South Sea. Yeah,
that was cool too.
Who is it that would just destroy South Sea back in the day?
Neil Ruffle.
That's right. He air off that extension and just... Yeah.
Neil Ruffle, like... He was like the best like English vert rider.
His 1 foot look back.
He probably would have been. He was one of the world's best vert riders. For sure.
And he's like a generation kind of before you. guys?
He's probably like a year older than me. So
really?
Not much, because him and Craig, I think we're the same age. Craig's like a year or two older than me.
Yeah.
So not too much, but like, back when you're that young, it is a lot. When you're like 14 and someone's 16 or whatever.
Oh yeah, it seems like a lot.
But yeah, he was just amazing, like the best, like by far and above, like the best vert rider of the time.
I think you guys are just.
And his brother was Andy Ruffle, who was like the BMX, like was like
the racing guy, right?
Yeah, he was like, I don't know, like even know who you'd compare him to over here, because he was like so huge in England. He was in like Kellogg's commercials. He was on TV all the time. Like he was the host on BMX Beat.
Yeah,
just like he was the face of BMX.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of Neil riding, and like they're all so stylish, and they're just. Yeah, I mean, he did those 1 foot look backs, but it was like you never even see somebody do the trick like he's doing it right there. It's insane.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he did a lot for BMX vert riding in England. I think that's why there were so many good vert riders after him. He was like so inspiring,
Yeah.
Set the bar for sure.
The bar is set so high over there. It seems like.
Yeah. So many interesting characters. Eric Steele too. Did you ever heard of him?
I haven't. What's up with him?
He was like a legend on the BMX scene in England, because he was just like, he would just try. He was just the guy that would just fucking go for it and like try anything. Like,
I've seen pictures of Eric Steele. Like he do like topside no foot cans and stuff.
Yeah, like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
He landed. He was the first person in England to land like a really high 540 at a contest.
Yeah.
And he rode Goofy Foot too. So when he did it, it just looked all like, I don't know, it just looks, when Goofy Footed people do 540s, they get this weird, like, their body gets like really stretched.
We were talking about that earlier, because
like it kind of twists
they like kind of like get so into their bars.
Yeah.
Because my best friend John Bristol, we were talking about his 540s, and stupid motorcycle.
Yeah.
We were talking about his 540s, and we were just talking about how so in the bars he gets, and we're like, well, he's goofy footed. I think it just puts you in a different spot.
Yeah.
And freaking motorcycles.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you do a goofy, we were literally saying that on the car ride over here.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But it was like so hit and miss whether he's gonna make it. He was like one of those guys. He would just go for it. He would crash a lot.
He just always looked like they're on the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy that we were just talking about that.
And actually, like when we all started doing turn downs, he got mad that he couldn't do it, so he just started doing it in the opposite way, and it was just like so scary to watch. But like
an opposite air turn down.
Yeah. And like he couldn't do. He would say he couldn't do an opposite air like just regularly. But like when he did this like turn down, like somehow it made sense for him to do it that way.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you around like, was it around like 92, 93? Did you kind of like, let's talk about the DJing. Like, I mean, it seemed like you kind of just.
The kind of bottom had fallen out of the industry. I was doing shows.
Yeah.
At schools and stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Nothing, and at the same time, like getting into music. I was living downtown and going out to like clubs and like, getting a taste for like house music. I'd always loved music. I was like, I came of age like in the 80s,
Yeah.
It's like always loved like The Cure and Depeche Mode. And, I mean, I love all music, like in Led Zeppelin. I collect everything,
Yeah.
But just got a taste for going out and like house music and techno, and but at the same time, shortly after, I had kids, and my wife got the job working for Fox. They were starting to design.
Yeah.
They were starting a sportswear line, so we ended up moving up to the Bay Area. Hadn't ridden for a few years really, and she got the job at Fox. So I was like stay-home dad for like a year and kind of going stir crazy, and did some like freelance T-shirt designs for Fox. And then they're like, we're gonna launch like a BMX and mountain bike division as well now.
Yeah.
and ended up like giving me the job, which was like amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'd never been to school for like graphic design. I just like dabbled in it a little bit.
How old were you then? Probably
like 23. Let's see. Yeah, 24, maybe 25.
Yeah, still really young.
Yeah. So I started working there, and was kind of thrown back into the world of BMX, and I was like, I designed the the elbow pads and knee pads that Mira.
Yeah.
Wore,
No,
like,
I rocked a pair of them.
Yeah. That was like a big project I worked on, and like all those crazy gloves, and it was fun. I like it. I got paid to like learn a lot of stuff like graphic design, and got to go to like Eurobike and stuff like that.
Yeah,
pretty fun place. It's funny because they gave Zoe and I a join-in desk. So in like a company of like 300 people, they sat me right next to my wife. So it was like, it was interesting. But they started sending me to the X Games. At the same time, Rick Moliterno gave me he gave me a bike.
Yeah.
He like, he's like, and at the same time, I found out about the San Jose Ramp Club.
Yeah,
which had like a really nice like half pipe.
Oh, I rode it. I slept behind the vert wall, and I ended up with like flea bites all over my body.
I bet you did. Yeah, that place has some interesting stuff going on. So I had this bike. Started like going to the ramp club, and like everything came back like super quick. I was like, after going there for just a little bit, I was like, getting 8 or 9 feet out. I was like doing like no-handers and 540s and 10 whips. I'm like, damn, like I can still like do all this shit, and riding with I remember Kagi had like just had knee surgery at the time, and I was taking my kid was like maybe 1 or 2, so I would like put her on the stroller like up on top of the vert ramp, and he would sit up there with her because he couldn't ride at the time, and we became friends. He would just like watch me ride vert, and Nyquist too. Those guys weren't really riding vert at the time. Yeah. So they would like watch me be all just super stoked, and then I would watch them on the wall to like box thing they had, and just be like completely mind blown. Like, I'd never seen people do like. I think I saw Ryan do like his first like something back. How many bar spin backflip or whatever. Yeah. And who's the other guy?
Cameron Birdwell?
Cameron Birdwell.
Yeah, Cam's a beast. He's a beast.
Remember him? Yeah, he would just blow my mind just watching like some of the.
I saw him bar spin, hit the box jump, bar spin, air into the vert ramp.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even a big deal.
Yeah, he owned that place, right? He was just like riding it all the time.
Yeah, dude, that's who we'd crash with, and I mean, Cam's so crazy. You'd always have super crazy Cam stories, and it's crazy. He's like he's got a crazy job at Apple now. He's like,
really?
Dude, he's so.
He was a rager back then.
Life around, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was like, I know he was doing some crazy partying stuff back then. But it worked for him.
Yeah, no, he's such a good dude. All those dudes are good dudes,
Yeah.
But then, so were you DJing then a little? Or?
Yeah, I'd already been DJing by then, but I didn't really know anyone in that area. We'd just gotten relocated. Yeah. So didn't know anyone, and I was kind of like stay-home dad, and then so I was like, thinking, fuck, I could, I'm not that old. I could still get back into the BMX thing. It's like, funnily enough, they sent me to one of the X Games, and I was like, well, there's like Mira and Miron and a couple of other people that are really good. But then I was like, wow, I'm like, I actually think I could maybe like make the finals. There are a couple of guys. I'm like, there are a couple of guys here that like. It seemed like, I could have, and I was like, then I started like riding a bit more and going over there more, and then one night I was like, I had pretty much stopped riding, and I decided to hit that box jump. Oh. And I remember all I did was a no footer, and when I landed, like my one foot didn't quite get back on the pedal properly, and it like slipped off. And like same one that like I'd broken like when I was younger, and like just like snapped down, and I just heard same thing again. I heard the crack, and like I looked down and my foot's just pointing in a direction that it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, I just broke my ankle again. And it turned out that, you know, the first time they put in like a big plate.
Yeah.
With a bunch of screws, and it snapped like right where that plate ended.
I've heard of them doing that, yeah.
Right above it. And the same thing too, both bones again. So then they just had to extend that. So now it just goes up like higher. And then I was like out of commission again for, you know, quite a few months, letting that heal. And that's when I really got into DJing, because I was like stuck at home. I would just like sit there and like get into it. But you know, at the same time I was DJing for myself and like all over the place. I'd do like rock mixes, 80s mixes, like total chill out mixes. I wasn't really going out and like going to clubs at the time, but I was just obsessed with music. And you know, also, you know, Zoe was working at Fox and doing pretty good, so I was just buying tons of vinyl. I ended up with like 20,000 records or something. And just all genres. We just wanted to buy everything that we like, every record that had ever like touched us in any way. Or, like, had a connection, and then also buying new stuff and dance music. And it got crazy. We were obsessed. We were just like, the best parties in San Jose would be at our house. That's how, because you know, we'd put the kids to bed, and then everyone we met would just come over to our house and party.
And so now, I mean, I literally don't know anything about the DJ world.
Yeah.
But I mean, you travel and
so now I'm like,
I mean, is it would you call it touring? I mean, do you tour? Like,
yeah, we tour. Like, I guess most DJs just go and do shows, but like we have this. So basically, I'd always been DJing, but I'd also always been like graphic designing, and the graphic design stuff always paid the bills. Yeah. So, you know, but I'd always been obsessed with music and like making beats, and you know, became like pretty popular around San Diego, and it's like that's kind of in a way all I ever wanted. I'm like, I just want to be able to like DJ at like, you know, local bars around town. Yeah. But it's like, you know, you don't make much money. Doing that, and I had a night going on at like a local bar, and it was like, you know, pretty cool, mixed little crowd. And then I heard about these guys up in North County that were also like doing like a house and techno night, and went up and checked it out, and I just bonded with these guys. Crazy, because they're all in their like mid-20s. Yeah. And they become like my like best buddies. Like we're all like so like connected, and we decided, you know, we wanted to do something together. Yeah. Some of the funnest things to do around here, because of the environment, are these like outdoor like weekend like desert parties where you go and camp out, and you know, it's like there's art and music, and we were getting invited to DJ at some of those, but it wasn't totally like our scene. So we're like, wow, let's just do our own party. So 3 years ago we did a party. It was just like on a renegade piece of land, and it just like everything kind of came together. There weren't even that many people there, maybe like 300. Yeah. But it was just this like crazy vibe where everyone was like having such a good time. And we are doing our 3-year anniversary in 4 weeks, and we're probably gonna have like 3,500 people. Wow. We do it on an Indian reservation now, so we, you know, still have to abide by laws, but they're like, we can run the music like nonstop. So our music goes for like 100 hours nonstop, like continuous, like mix with like the best DJs in our mind, like from around the world or whatever. Yeah. It's turned into this like huge thing. Where
what's it called?
It's called Desert Hearts. Okay. And we like, you know, it's grown very slowly from like, you know, like 300 to 800 to like 1,200 to like, you know, where it is now. Like in the last one we did 3,000, and this time we're gonna do about 3,500.
Is there like, do you guys have a website for it or anything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's deserthearts.us. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
And for November 5th through 9th, so is the next one.
Yeah, plug it. Put the plug in. Put the plug in.
Where's it at exactly?
It's at the Los Coyotes Indian Reservation, which is in Warner Springs, which is really close to here. It's like as if you were taking the back way out to Palm Springs, or if you were going to Julian and hung a left at Santa Isabel.
Does Steve Aoki go to that?
I don't know.
He's kind of local here, you know.
Is he? No.
He's like kind of.
His parents started Benihana. He's like, the stuff we play is nothing like what he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like kind of mainstream EDM. I mean, like, the stuff we play is like, you know, because, you know, I'm like I said, I love rock and roll and stuff.
Yeah.
Too. And like some people do have like bad connotations of like house and techno and what it is exactly, but it's very tribal, and it's, you know, just to see like that many people like moving like in beat with like, I don't know, it's something you have to experience for sure.
Yeah, it seems crazy. I mean,
with the amount of like, we have this sound system, Function 1, that's like extremely loud, but like in all the right frequencies. So it's like you'll be it's like way louder than like any like concert you've been to. You know, like I go to concerts these days and I'm like, this sucks. But you can still have a conversation in front of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, just it's not just a bunch of muffled frequencies. It's very clear.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So yeah, we do 100 hours nonstop, and it just gets crazy out there. Everyone dresses up like wild. Everyone like really comes out of their shells, and we decided like from the get-go that it was going to be about love and building community, and like showing people that if you are just your true self, and like just because I know everyone's like kind and honest person deep down, but like people get caught up in like day-to-day bullshit, and it's like people come to our party. We always decided it was going to be about love. And
yeah, no, when we're driving around here, I'm like, gosh, you know, coming from Oregon where everybody's pretty mellow.
Yeah,
I'm just like, you know, drivers. I'm like, God, everybody's so tense down here driving, and
totally.
You know, and just like, you're like, oh, just slow it down and take it a little bit easy. Things will be nice, you know.
People need it, just like a little time where they can go away and just, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, there's never any trouble. It's like, so like everyone's looking out for everybody, and you know, it's like nothing, you know, like our lost and found, like the craziest stuff will get handed in, that like, you know, like wallets with tons of money in them, or like whatever. It's like, thank you. And then off of Desert Hearts, we've been we also do City Hearts now, and we like have been touring around. We just did like, we've done shows this year. We did Brooklyn, Denver, San Francisco, Toronto.
Wow. Toronto's a fun city. I like Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto was super fun.
It's super fun.
I wish we'd been there longer, but we're going to go back. And then, we have a lot of cool stuff coming up with that for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's fun because, like, you know, just like BMX, one of the best things about BMX is, like, meeting people.
Yeah.
And, like, connections you make that, like, you wouldn't normally, you know, it's like...
Yeah, that's why I mean, that's the great thing about BMX. Like, you know, we were talking about earlier, you just meet somebody and they ride BMX, and you just have that bond, and
totally.
You can just gab for hours, and I'm sure the same as with music, and you know, any type of like hobby. If you just meet some like-minded people, you just like, these are like my brothers. We're down. Let's do this. You know.
Totally.
So we always have people on Instagram, you know, ask questions. So I got a few questions for you.
Nice.
Team Sano, which he's from the island. You know, he's from. I think he's up north. I think he's Scottish. Maybe that's a whole nother. I don't even know. I'm bad at my geography. He wants to know if you have any funny Ron W. stories from the Enchanted Ramp. Were you there when he was trying to relearn how to ride?
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, I think actually, like by the time I broke my ankle and had to move back to England, he hadn't really like gotten back into the swing of riding. I don't think.
How long did it take him to get back into the swing of riding?
A year or two, I think.
Yeah. I mean, let
me pause on that one.
Yeah, we can come back to it.
I can think of a good one.
We already went over the Meanwhile days. Let's see. Day in the Suburbs wants to know if you have any good Chris Potts stories.
I have just a lot of good Chris Potts stories. Let's see. Well, me and him, we kind of had like the same relationship I had with Greg Guillot, you know, because we were like same age on this, like rode on the same team for a while.
You guys both rode for Hutch and then both rode for Haro, right?
Yeah. So we had a lot of incidents where we would go to like after parties and both have our eye on the same girl. Yeah. And there were some moments where I know there's one moment in particular when when he wasn't too happy about me hooking up with this one girl, and vice versa. What else? What are the Chris Potts ones? I actually love Chris because him and his dad let me like stay with them for a while when I first moved out here. Like I think before I moved back into the Enchanted house, I lived out with them in Vista for a few months at their house. So
yeah.
If it hadn't been for him, I met him in Paris the year before, and we like bonded. Actually, when I went back to Paris in '89, Chris and I shared a hotel room, and I think that was like probably one of the first few times I'd ever stayed in a hotel.
Yeah.
And we were in Paris, and I was so broke at the time. I remember like going there with like no money because it was supposed to be, you know, like an all expenses paid trip or whatever. But you know, my idea of a breakfast isn't the French's idea of a breakfast. And I was just hungry all the time. I remember like and so Chris Potts and I like just emptied the refrigerator in the hotel room and just racked up this like ungodly bill that like neither of us had the money to settle up. And Ron, there's your Ron story too. And, Ron ended up having to pay it, and he wasn't too happy about it. I remember that.
Do you remember how much it was?
I don't remember. It was a lot. That was a fun trip because we got to. One night Matt and I almost got arrested because we were like riding this, like we hopped a fence to ride this playground that had these cool little banks in it. Was that the brick ones, like the brick spine and stuff? Yeah, I think so. It has like some, we didn't get in there very long because we got the gendarmes like came and hassled us. Yeah. And what else? Yeah. Can't think of any other. What other Chris Potts stories do I have? Yeah, me and him, we always had just like that cool like riding rivalry, and like always liking the same girl. He had a fun style. Like he was like so carvy on his airs. Yeah, definitely. Like I mean, he'd go high, but he'd take a lot of the ramp up. You know. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was great. I feel like he probably broke like 1,000 Hutch Trickstar 2s. Yeah, those bikes, man. Luckily, I never had to ride one of those. Yeah, I was always psyched on Chris Potts, especially like in the early 90s, like when he started doing Trip Clothing, and he had like that little ramp compound, and he was like kind of riding street and pools and stuff. Yeah, that's when me and him were hanging out a lot. Yeah. And he just had cool style then. Like, you know, you just saw him, and as a younger rider, you're like, oh, I'm into this. You know, you're just into the vibe he was putting out. Yeah. Well, me and him were always on the same page too, because he would come out clubbing with me all the time too. Like, you know. Yeah, I mean, super cool guy. He definitely was a dope dude. So. Yep, still is. I haven't seen him for a month or two, but actually, when I was doing my design job, we would print out a lot of the films. You know, the films he uses for screen printing. Yeah. So I'd see him like every other day for. So he just runs a screen printing shop now. Yep. Awesome. Yep. He actually owns a house over in South Park, and he converted his garage his garage is his screen printing shop, and he has a granny flat upstairs when his parents come down, and got 2 kids. And awesome. Yeah, awesome wife. Yep. Yeah. Living the dream. Living it. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap things up. Thanks. I'm super psyched that I got to come out and talk to you. Like. Yeah. Thanks, Shad. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm super psyched you can be down here talking to everybody. So. Yeah. Maybe next time I come down, I was talking to Eddie. I was saying we should just get a few dudes and go out to Baldy one day and just get a bunch of homies out there and ride the pipe. That'd be awesome. So. I know. I'm bummed that like everyone's like getting together so much, and then I like work on the weekends doing my DJ stuff, so it's kind of been making it impossible. But I definitely want to ride my bike soon. Well, next time I come down, I think we should get a little posse and just, you know, just go out there and maybe barbecue and just everybody just ride the pipe. I think it'd be a fun day. Awesome. All right, thanks, man. All right, take care.